Hello, today I'm going to be showing you how to make your ends triangular shaped. This is a little bit more of an advanced subject, so if you have not watched the video about how to read patterns, I suggest you go do that before you come here. So I'm going to show you an example pattern before we begin. So if you look, I have one pattern right here, and I've already colored where our triangles will be. So if you look at this one, our triangle starts here and is just right here. When you look in the pattern, you just look for any type of triangle. So with the colors, you can see that the blue starts here and it goes all the way to the ends, which is a complete triangle. So looking at our pattern for today, our triangle that we're going to start with is going to be right here. So you're going to choose this one, and it's going to go all the way down to either side. And of course, there are other spots you could pick from, so you could have chose these whites. There's endless spots that you can choose from, but it's always nicer to start as close to the top as you can. So I've included this pattern in the description, so go ahead and download it, print it, whatever you'd like to do before we begin. Okay, so if you remember from the pattern video, I look at the top and I know I need 4 of my A strings, 2 B, 2 C, and 4 D strings. So I have 12 strings in total. I'm going to cut each string to 40 inches. Okay, now I have all my strings cut and I have them in a loop. And now I'm going to tape everything down, but I'm not going to tie a knot. Okay, I also left about 4 inches of string at the top so that I can make my bracelet adjustable when I'm done. So now, taking a look at my triangle, I have cut it in half so that I have a left and a right side of my triangle. So what I first need to do is for the first row of my triangle, I don't look at any of the other knots. The first knot is a forward knot with my color C. So my color C is navy. So I'm going to take my navy, and to get it essentially inside the triangle, I'm going to do a forward knot on top of all of my strings. So I'm going to do a forward knot, and because whenever you do a knot, you always do 2, I'm going to do 2 here as well. So now my navy is inside my triangle. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but instead of a forward knot, I'm going to do a backwards knot to bring it into the triangle. So I'm going to do 2 backwards knots, 1, 2, and now the strings I need are inside my triangle. From here, I'm just going to follow exactly what the pattern says, a forward knot with my navy. So I'm going to do just that. Do a forward knot, bringing the strings together, just like that. I'm going to do one more. Just like that. Okay, and now my next row is a forward and a backwards knot with my navy, and then I have my D string, so I need to bring my D strings into the triangle. My D string is my gray, so I'm going to find my gray, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring forward knot on to make it inside of my triangle, and then I'm going to do a backwards knot on my right side to bring it inside of the triangle. Okay, so now again I'm going to do what the pattern tells me to do. I'm going to do a backwards knot with my navy on top of my gray, and then a forward knot with my navy on top of my gray. Just like that. Okay, my third row has a backwards knot with my C color on top of my A color, a forward knot with my D colors, and then a forward knot with my C color on top of my A color. My A color is light blue, so I'm going to find one of my light blues and I'm going to bring it into my triangle by doing a forward knot on top of all of the strings on the left side, and then I'm going to do backwards knot on top of all of the strings on my right side. Okay, so now I have the strings I need for this row inside of my triangle. So I'm going to do what the pattern says. Okay, so for this row, I'm going to bring in another one of my light blues because I have a forward knot with my navy onto a light blue, but I only have a white blue for this gray knot that I'm going to do. So I need to bring a light blue in, and I'm going to do that the same way I've done it for all the other strings. I'm going to do 2 forward knots on the left side and 2 backward knots on the right side. Okay, and now I'm just going to do what the pattern tells me. Okay, for this next row, I need to bring in my white, so I'm going to do 2 forward knots on the one string left on my left side, and I'm going to do 2 backward knots on the string I have left on my right side. Okay, and again, I'm just going to follow the pattern. Okay, and for the last row of my triangle, I'm not going to add in any strings. I'm just going to follow the pattern how it's written. And I'm going to keep doing my bracelet until it's time to finish. Now that I've finished my bracelet, I'm now going to look for a triangle to start my decrease, which is what I've highlighted in green. We first start the triangle going this way, but now we have to have it going the opposite way. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did in the beginning, just flip-flop. So I'm still going to only do the knots inside the triangle, and I'll see you when I'm done. Once you finish your triangle, you're going to take the 2 leftmost strings on the left half of the bracelet, and you're going to make a backwards knot with the one on the right to the one on the left. Next, you take the next thread and do 2 backwards knots on both of the strings. You're going to continue that until you have the entire left side combined. And now you're going to do the same thing on the right side, except you're making 2 forward knots instead of 2 backwards knots. And now you're all done. I hope you enjoyed.